Okay, in this video we continue with chapter 4 on verbals. So in the first part of chapter 4 we discussed gerunds, and we said that gerunds are words that are verbs in a past life but that are now functioning as nouns, right? Because they are being used as nouns, they do all of the jobs of nouns and noun phrases. We looked at examples where they are subjects, where they are direct objects, predicate nominatives, objects of the preposition, and so on. So we move today to our next type of verbal, and these are called participles. So again, participles were once verbs. They look like verbs, they're spelled like verbs, but they are not verbs. Now they are functioning as adjectives. And since they are adjectives, they do adjective stuff. They do adjective work, like modifying, explaining, and identifying nouns. So we have two types of participles. We can have ing participles, like eating, interesting, swimming, and so on. But we also have ed participles, sometimes called the VIN participle. So eaten, or interested, swam, thought, found, taken. So let's look at examples then. Well, how are these words that I think are verbs, how are they being used as adjectives? So I think Six Flags is an exciting place. Exciting, it's spelled like a verb, but instead, in this example, it is giving us information about the noun place. So here we see an ing participle that is modifying the noun place. And the second one, the deciding factor. Well, which factor? There are many factors, but the deciding factor was cost. So again, deciding is this ing word that is now identifying a noun. The school Halloween party was boring. So again, we have a participle boring. Boring is telling us about the party. It is describing the party. The reading class. Which class? The writing class, the English class, the grammar class? Nope, the reading class. So again, an ing word that's modifying the noun. So let's look at some of the ed participles. My teammate gave me a frustrated look. So what kind of look? A frustrated look. So again, we can see that adjective job of answering what kind, which one. Well, what kind of look? A frustrated look. She was bored. Again, we have the ed participle bored. The excited student. Which student? The excited student. 4 is a particularly interesting one because here we have this participial phrase after the noun that it modifies. So the employees worried by the decision would not accept the answer. So again, we can see worried by the decision is helping us identify which employees we're talking about. There are many, many, many employees at the company. Some employees are not caring too much about this issue, but the ones worried by the decision. So here we see this participial phrase helping us identify a noun. So looking at some more participle phrases, when we have a participle phrase at the beginning of the sentence, it is followed by a comma. So running to the bus stop, comma, James. So running to the bus stop, this participle is giving us more info about James. Majoring in chemistry and physics, Susan is always busy. Trying to finish the race, the team. Okay, so again, when participle phrases begin sentences, they need to be followed by commas. So how to identify participle phrases? Well, first, participle phrases often follow linking verbs. So the quiz was challenging. So recall that in the past we've performed substitution tests to determine part of speech. So the quiz was difficult. Difficult is clearly an adjective. The quiz was challenging. Challenging is also an adjective. So here, challenging is functioning as a participle. Participles often occur before the nouns they modify. So an exciting movie, interesting book, boring documentary, those are all participles occurring immediately before the noun they modify. And then participles, importantly, are set off by commas. Gerunds are not set off by commas. If you take away a gerund from a sentence, the sentence will not make sense. You can't delete a gerund. But a participle is extra information. So in this example in 3, we can see we can add the comma. Encouraged by his progress, comma, James decided. So punctuating commas then. When a participle phrase begins a sentence, it should be set off with a comma. So pointing to the toy, the baby charged across the room. So pointing to the toy is helping us identify the baby. So if within a sentence it's also set off by commas, the baby, comma, pointing to the toy charged across the room. So you could put the commas in number 2, but we must remember that participles can be removed from sentences. So that is the key way that we separate gerunds and participles. So you can delete participles, but you can't delete gerunds. So reading is important to your success. So this is a gerund. If you take the gerund out of that, then you are just left with is important to your grade. And that doesn't make sense, right? So you can't delete gerunds. In the second one, the reading class is great for children. You could certainly say the class is great for children. This participle is just giving us more information about the class. So generally, we can delete gerunds, but we cannot delete participles. So in the second one, you can replace gerunds with pronouns, but you can't replace participles with pronouns. So if you look at the previous one we just discussed, the reading class, you can't say the it class, the this class, the that class. You can't replace participles with pronouns. So it is important to your success. Sure, that works. So gerunds can be replaced, participles cannot.